Perhaps within that band of 150
at least
160.
we have 3-4 months. Yeah, it definitely still going to be with that bound. It's still going to be within that boundary. But the strength might not be too.
Not
at least you can't see the naira drop to 148. It can't happen.
Oh, for now. Well, let's look at, because we were talking about measures at the CBN. Remember the CBN's core mandate to ensure, protect the naira, ensure exchange rate stability, apart from fighting inflation. Yeah. Now we have seen what some other countries have done, particularly the yen. We've seen the yen come, once in a while it comes under a lot of pressure, and the central bank, the Japanese central bank, take measures. Now, looking at how our own central bank, the measures have been taken, policies, and other central bank governors, is there some kind of link? How would you describe or rate how they have been taking, formulating their own policies?
These policies are not too different from each other. At the point in time, central bank mops out liquidity from the economy. In time, they release cash through the open market operation. These are the same policies most of the governments use across the world, and it's supposed to achieve almost the same result. But the way at which we implement some of these policies differ. Okay, now in our own side of the world, we need more aggressive implementation of some of the policies that have been rolled out in the economy for us to achieve the desired result that we want. Okay, look at, for instance, you say yen. Yen is an economy that is driven by the export. They export stuffs out of their country, so they don't need a strong yen to achieve that. Okay, so they come up with policies that can help them achieve the desired result they want to achieve as regarding their export. Now,
even if, sorry to butt in, even if they have poor GDP growth numbers. The market just received one this morning. GDP growth for, I think it was the second quarter, just 0.3%. Analysts were expecting much better growth.
That's short term. By the time you look at the performance of the economy, say 3 years, 5 years, for the past 2 years, how will you judge it? Is it growing or is it shrinking? Obviously, it has been growing.
Yeah, but we know that Japan has, because, you said that they rely more on exports.
Yeah.
And who are the people who are buying their exports? Countries, Europe,
US,
Europe and some other parts of Asia and Australia. But we do know that many of these countries, or many of them, the states within the continent are cash-strapped, especially Europe. So there's less money spent on the exports from Japan.
There's a slow growth in the global economy right now. So if there's a slow growth for an economy like Japan, US, you don't expect them to post outstanding figures. Okay, but I'm saying that let's not just look at it in the short-term view. Let's look at it in the long-term view. You see that their economic policies, even from the Bank of Japan, you see that it has been helpful and their currency has been, gaining strength.
But it doesn't. It looks like the measures that some of these, apart from our own central banks, especially central banks outside Europe, the ECB, European Central Bank, the Bank of England, the US Federal Reserve, the Bank of China, investors, financial markets are not happy. They believe that these policymakers can do more, especially in terms of easing monetary policy.
But don't forget that the word that we hear every day in Euro is austerity, 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 austerity. To achieve the desired result, the creditors want to make available money, but for you to access this fund, this and this have to happen in the economy. So, in my own opinion, I think that the policymaker are handicapped because there's little to what they can do except they probably agree on the terms. So if we are talking about if there's something like a normal situation, okay, if there is a normal situation, you agree with me that most of these policymakers have actually done their best to improve their financial market until recently when we have this crisis going on in the economy.
Okay. So they've done their best, but obviously...
I'm talking about in a normal situation.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, we haven't been in a normal situation since 2009. We haven't been in a normal situation
since 2009. Obvious. That's why I said they're handicapped, because now what they want is more money. Their debt is rising, and the returns on their debt is obviously rising, and you have a creditor that want to make available funds to you, but you have to obey certain conditions.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So
tell me, what option do I really have in a situation like that? I want to borrow money from you, but I have to dance to your tune. Okay, so what you see happening in Greece now, the ECB chairman came out to speak about the fact that the euro is they're going to do everything their best to make sure that the euro is strengthened.
Well, he didn't just say that. He actually specifically said that the ECB would directly intervene in the bond market, buying bonds off, especially for countries like Spain and Italy. But we haven't seen that happening.
After that speech in the currency market, we saw the euro driving up. It moved about 100 120 points to 200 points.
Wouldn't that be artificial, because those words are yet to be backed up by action?
Don't forget that we are looking, like I said, our analysis appeal to different people. Okay, be a currency analyst. We want to take advantage of currency fluctuations to make gain. Okay, at that particular point in time, rumor was driving the market, and that rumor was positive for the euro. Okay, and what you saw was a quick move to the upside. But what followed? What was glaring? That was a speech that lacked action. Okay, and what you saw after that was that euro began to drop. As we speak right now, in the early hours of today, the euro has dropped. Okay, so they have not been able to come up with actionable steps to achieve what they are saying. So talk is cheap, but action is what we are looking for.
Now, looking at because let's not stray too far. The emerging economies, Nigeria is one of them. We have the main ones that the world economies look to, the BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, India, and China. But for countries like India, China, Brazil, that more investors look to, in terms of their currency growth, that hasn't performed too well, including we're also part of that. You know, yes. The investors also look to our currency growth here, but that hasn't also performed well. So, but then at the beginning of the year, there were robust forecasts for the currencies of these emerging economies that they would do, much better. But it looks like nobody is immune to this debt crisis.
Nobody is immune, but don't forget that in the early part of the year, there were a lot of economic stimulus by different central banks in different countries trying to stimulate, most especially from the side of euro. You discover that in the early part of this year, the euro actually gained strength, okay, because of what the ECB is trying to do and stimulus they are trying to inject into this different economy. But that aside, if you look at these economies that we're talking about, you discover that they have put in infrastructures in place. Okay, yes, imagine, but they have infrastructure in place that can drive the economy to the desired
faster
growth.
Than economy like Nigeria,
faster than economy like Nigeria,
where we have that huge infrastructure deficit. Okay,
very huge. I think huge is another statement. I'm looking for a word that's greater than huge.
Well, let's just leave it at huge. For
okay. Okay. So these economies have the potential. Yes, they are performing badly, but if you check their performance, part to our performance, you see that there's a huge gap because we lack basic infrastructure to drive this economy. Okay, if I have an option of investing in China and I have an option investing in Nigeria, one of the things I'm going to look at is infrastructure. Is there light? Do you have multiple roads? Now, don't also forget security issues. Yes, in infrastructure lies opportunity.
Yeah, the opportunity
but
to
that
build
will now appeal to different levels of investors. Okay, am I the kind of, because if you're investing in infrastructure, you know that it's a very long-term investment. Okay, talking about road, talking about light, before you can recoup your capital or even begin to start making money, you know it's a very long-term project. But comparing that with an economy that already has infrastructure, so I'll move money to that economy.
But
except if I'm patient
one of the ways, especially for the US, that in terms of creating jobs for the unemployed in the country, is embarking on more construction, more infrastructure projects. Mr. President Obama did say that. So.
But they still have it. Ours is I'm sorry, nothing to write home about.
Okay, let's going forward, emerging market economies, currencies haven't performed too well. Obviously, like I said, it looks like no one is immune from this debt crisis. But going forward, do you think that central bank governors are, because it looks like they keep having to dig deeper into their toolbox, as it were. We see the Fed always taking a dovish stance, always hedging, always dodging, and just being neither here nor there when it comes to policies. Same thing we have in Europe. They make the pronouncements, they don't exactly back it up with words and all of that. But here, our own problems are peculiar. We know what our problems are, but and of course it will take a very long time to solve or to tackle, as it were. But going forward, can we get back to a time where we have much more robust, or until these problems are solved, much more robust forecast, especially
we
2013,
can, like I said,
Q3.
for me, I'm expecting a naira appreciation even into the early part of 2013, because if we finally have conclude plans on PHCN and some other investors that
we have all that capital, FDI, foreign direct investment coming into the
foreign
country.
Direct investment coming into the country, then I'm telling you that
we should say currency appreciation in our currency.
Yeah. Well, the fact that I said that some of these infrastructure are not down, like you said, there are opportunities. Okay, and that's what the foreign investment are having. It's just that a lot of our foreign direct investment are trying to go into our treasury bills because of the returns that they are giving. Okay, but if we have more of this investment into capital projects in Nigeria, then Yeah, but going by what we still have on ground right now, it's still a sign of encouragement for the naira, because if all of this still come, then we should see signs of strength coming up on the naira, and even to the early quarter one, quarter two. Okay, based on what our government is trying to do and the amount of money they are trying to attract to the country, then we should see the naira strengthening, but not too significantly, but maybe still around 150.
So